Jennifer. What's up?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hi, Eric. Are you around?
Oh, yes, he's here. He's like
Hey,
raring to go today.
he always is. Hey, is that a different background from the last ones?
I
Or is it the
think that
same?
I think it's different. The last time it was this background, but yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
relatively new.
Okay, it
Yes,
looks a little different. Okay.
yeah.
Well, we are going to talk about a very uplifting thing today, and that's going to be demons and possessions. What do you think, Eric? You okay with that?
Yes, yep. Yes, he
Okay.
is.
We're not going to have one come into channel, though, so don't worry too
No,
much.
no, no. He said no,
Not
no,
that. No. You
no.
see,
We're gonna leave them where they are.
actually, this is all of these are pretty much from. Uh, there are some from other blog members, but the majority of these are for one blog member in particular, Martinia. Okay, let me read. Dear Dr. Matthews, please find below questions for the interview. If I was to suggest it would be useful to bring Annalise Michael to the interview, as she died while being possessed by 6 demons in 1975 in Germany. I don't know if I want to do that.
No, Eric says no. We don't need to bring them. We don't need to
Okay.
do that in order to get answers.
Okay, good. There's a documentary about her on YouTube for any of you guys who are interested, so that's good. So obviously it's up to you guys. All right, so her first question is why demons why do they get the ability to possess the human body?
Okay, so what Eric is saying is that actually true possessions are very, very rare.
Hmm,
Sometimes it's oddly enough, he says sometimes it's actually written in to the chart that there will be a possession, but they're very rare. And the person who ends up kind of being possessed, he says they tend to have some real struggles here. Like they kind of they're not real grounded. He said they're not real grounded to being here.
mhm.
But he says that is very rare. It does happen, he said, but it is rare that you actually get possessed by a demon.
So they get
And
attracted by, do they get attracted by negative energy like
yes, yeah,
alcoholism, depression, all that kind of stuff?
yeah, yeah, there has to be what Eric is saying is like there has to be an entryway for them to
Hmm.
be able to do this. And yes, it's like maybe like you were saying, like with the addiction. Um Sometimes he says also dabbling in that kind of stuff
Mm,
can open that gateway too for people.
yeah.
And he says sometimes it's written in, sometimes it is going to happen.
What do you
Um,
mean it's written in the
like
charts,
written
though?
into the chart, like the person wrote it in that
Like a
something.
spiritual contract?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why would they do
Yes.
that?
Well, he's saying like that because other people who are here, like need to see it, that there is good and evil. And so he is saying, when you open yourselves to the darker side of things, you are inviting that energy in.
Okay.
Um, so not even just the possession, but the negative entities, the lower level, bless you,
Thank you.
the lower level energies. You're opening up a gateway for that. So you need to be really very careful if you're toying around with that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, let's talk about the different types. There's demons. Some people talk about shadow entities. I mean, shadow people. Some people talk about negative entities. Can you go over the different
Yeah.
classes of
So,
negative, of darker entities?
yeah, the first thing that he's bringing to my attention is that sometimes, because of the way our human brain works, sometimes, and he says actually oftentimes, we will see something here in our human form. You open your eyes at night and there's a figure standing in your room, which this is kind of like the shadow people. This is he's making me feel like this is like the shadow people. Now, the thing is that he's saying it usually scares the shit out of people. So
No
they
kidding.
they think it's negative because it scared them,
Oh,
because it created fear. There's an association that is a negative entity, and he says that is not always the case.
Are they just
Um,
spirits or shadow
yeah,
people?
they're
Just
just spirits or spirit guides. But he says when you see something like that and it scares you, the way the human brain works is it makes it a negative thing. Oh, it's a
yeah.
negative entity that's attached itself to me. He says that's not the case. And he says oftentimes, not all the time, when you wake up in the night and you see somebody standing in the room who shouldn't be there, it's either a loved one or a spirit guide.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so he says you don't need to be afraid of those, but that's so there's a disconnect there with seeing sometimes what's a loved one or a spirit guide with it being negative because it creates
Yeah.
fear.
Sure.
um
So what other things are there?
okay, so there are like lower level energies like that would have been human form, like the same type of soul that we are, that just maybe aren't advanced or he's like they kind of they get stuck in between here and there.
Okay.
And so they feel, he's like, they're draining you, like they feel like they want something from you, they exhaust you, he's saying that that's like how they will make you feel, and again frightening you. And then the truly evil, like what we would call demons, those are not like the same type of soul that humans are. He said like angels are not
Oh.
the same type of soul as
Ah.
humans. Demons are also not the same type of soul, different beings. He said different beings.
Well,
And
why did they? Well, first, let me go back to the people who are stuck. Why are they stuck? And what are they trying to? Why are they trying to
uh,
drain something from you?
so there's all kinds of reasons. And it's not even for whatever reason he's making me feel as though this particular thing that we're discussing is different than earthbound spirits, different than a ghost,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
to speak. It's like kind of like stuck in between.
Hmm.
Like earthbound, they're kind of stuck here.
Yeah.
This is like an in between. I guess purgatory is what is the word that he's giving me.
Okay.
And it's like they don't want to let go. Like the earthbound spirits oftentimes don't know that they're dead.
Whoa. Wow.
They're stuck here because they don't know they've died.
Yeah.
These spirits, they know that they're dead, but they don't want to let go of what's here, whether it's their, he said possessions,
Okay.
possessions, but he means things,
Yeah.
objects. This
Oh,
time,
yeah.
yeah. So he says they don't want to let go, so they stick around, and they do have the ability, he says, to kind of like when people feel as though somebody's attached themselves,
Mhm.
an energy has attached themselves to you. He said this is most often what's happening, is it's with these particular souls, and they'll feel like they've attached. Like if you go someplace and you come back, and I know people out there know this feeling, like something's attached itself to me, it's gotten on me,
Mm.
and that's this type of energy.
Well, why do
um,
they attach? What do they get out of that?
he says they're trying to use your energy. They're trying to use
Oh.
your energy to get what they want, or to have more strength. And he said they need to be pushed. They need to be pushed into the other side. They need to be pushed over there. Um, and so he just said sometimes too, those ones, when they've done something very bad here, they're afraid to go over. They're
Oh.
afraid to fully go over, so they kind of like cling on, like they fight going into the light, so to speak,
Yeah.
because they're afraid of what they're going to have to do when they get
Oh,
there.
yeah, sure. Oh, poor guys or girls. All right.
Yes.
So tell me more about demons. Where did they come from and why did they exist?
Uh, well, he just says, because with you have to have the good and the evil, the
Oh,
balance,
the contrast.
the contrast. So they also come from, the same source that we come from,
Isn't that
basically.
amazing?
Yeah, that we all kind of come from the same place, but their role is to be evil, so that to balance the good. Fortunately, he said there's a lot more good, a lot more
Oh,
good.
yeah. So it's
He said,
basically, I mean, they're still part of God, which is light, which is love. It's just the darker end of the light spectrum, right?
yeah. It's like from one end to the other, from one end to the other, because, um, well, he puts it in a way like God could, like they're really no match for God. Do you know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
That God could just reabsorb them back into the light.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we need the balance.
Oh yeah. All
Is,
right.
is
But
how
they
he's putting
still,
it.
everything. God is everything. So they are
Yeah,
actually part of God, which is so weird. But I'm sure Source has
plan.
her or his reasons, but because of the contrast. All right, now, can only demons or negative entities or whatever possess, or can like somebody, a good spirit, possess a human?
Well, okay, yeah. So Eric is funny because he's like, possess is always associated with the negative. So the word
Oh,
possess would always be associated with the negative.
unless you're trans
But
channeling Eric, for example.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So it's like kind of when somebody says you're possessed. If somebody says you're possessed, people would automatically associate that with the negative, is what he's saying. So he wants to clarify that yes, you can, a good or a lighter energy can attach itself to you, which is still technically a possession. But to use that word, he said people will think it's negative.
Yeah, like what possessed you to do that? Yeah.
Yes,
Now
yeah. It has such a negative
I
connotation.
understand that saying now. Okay,
Yeah.
so her next question: what do they gain by possession of humans? And getting
Okay.
energy is one thing,
Yeah, so
brain,
and
but
what Eric just said too is that they also gain more access to the physical world, to the feelings of the physical world,
mm,
to just everything about the physical world, because when we are on the other side, there is that disconnect from the physical world, the emotions of the
yeah.
physical world, the feeling of the physical world. So some of them really truly love the physical world, the power that they had here, the control that they perceived that they had here. So kind of possessing a human gives
Mm,
them those feelings back.
okay. Uh, okay. Was Annalise and Michael or Michelle, whatever, really possessed by six demons, or was she just mentally ill, like her doctor argued?
Okay, so how Eric is putting this is that I he can't say six for sure. He's like he's kind of making me feel like that's kind of an obscure like way of looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because and he says because it's like they can make you look different. They can look different. They can like one particular possession can look many different ways
Well, you
within the
can make
same person.
it can change the face and everything of a person.
Yeah, and they
Ooh.
themselves, like the personalities that they display, so it may have looked like there were six different things, but that's not quite adding up for me.
Oh,
He's like, this is just not quite what was happening. Now there was, with this particular woman, there was some mental illness,
mm.
and it's like her her fear and her vulnerability is what
That
like
was a portal. That was a
yes,
portal.
yes,
So
the
mentally ill.
vulnerability.
So mentally ill people tend to be victims of possession
Not okay,
sometimes.
not all, yes, not always. That how Eric is putting it is it can be a way for them to get in. But he says the way it is now, mental illness is so much better understood that a lot more people do get help
Yeah.
for it. But it can be a vulnerability.
Eric, were you ever possessed?
No,
Okay, good. I didn't think
no.
so. All right, so because you were surrounded by love. All right,
Oh,
so
so you know what he just said? I'm sorry, I
no,
got to interrupt.
no.
He said it was his own demons
Yeah,
that he was fighting. So not literal
his
demons.
thoughts.
His own demons were what
Yeah,
he battled.
yeah. Poor baby.
Yes.
Um, well, are there people out there that are diagnosed with schizophrenia, borderline personality disorders, sociopaths, etc., that really don't have those mental illnesses that are
Yeah.
really suffering from possession?
Okay. So he
I
is.
mean, and how can you tell?
He says you can't. You can't.
Exercise them.
You can't tell. Yeah. He says you really can't tell because.
If they
Um,
sizzle when you throw holy water on them,
yes.
that's your answer.
Yeah, but he is saying that there are some people out there who believe themselves to be mentally ill, who do have stuff coming from the spirit world, and they think that they're crazy. But he's like, there are absolutely people who are getting messages from the other side, seeing spirits from the other side, and they believe that they're mentally ill when really they're just connected to the other side and they don't quite understand it. Um, but yeah, he said it's very hard to tell the difference between a possession and somebody who's having like a breakdown, like a psychotic episode.
Well,
He said
how do you?
it's very hard to tell.
So what did we do?
Um, okay. Uh, he 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 said you have to explore all the options. You have to explore all the options, and now he said so many people just explore the medical.
Oh.
You have to be open to other options, and
Like does
think outside
exorcism
the
work?
box.
Does exorcism work?
Yeah, they can work if they're done properly. Yes, they can,
Is
and
it
they
always
have.
is it always attached to like the Catholic religion, or are there other
No, there are.
non-denominational types of exorcism?
Yeah, there's other exorcisms that work. That's not just through the Catholic religion. He said because people do get possessed in areas where the Catholic religion isn't prominent.
Right.
So they have other ways of doing it.
So what is it about an
Um,
exorcism that works? Is it all about like
yeah, he said.
prayer, or what is it?
Yeah, it's like he's making me feel like prayer and like healing energy from the other people, like actually physically touching. I do feel that there's like almost rituals happening, like stuff like that's being drank and stuff that's being burned, um
Oh,
like a whole thing to create. He said, okay, he said to create the space for the positive energy to come in, and it's almost like he's making me feel like it's super focused, that positive energy has to be really really focused instead of being like all over the place. It needs to be channeled
yeah, like
very,
a laser beam.
yes, very specifically.
And maybe sage, a smudging with sage, or
Yeah,
burning
yeah, but it
salt and things like that. Well,
but there's also other herbs. He's putting other stuff in, like with the stuff with what's burning. I don't know,
Palo
um,
Santo.
like yeah, but like lavender and just yeah, a mixture. It's like a mixture of stuff that's burning.
Well, it's probably more than one way to do it,
Yeah,
I guess, is
yeah.
there? Well,
Oh, absolutely,
and then Tibetan
absolutely.
bells, clearing the energy.
Yeah, and he
So,
did say you do not have to be um like a professional
oh
at this.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know we have the capacity to clear that energy out.
So, how do we find out how to do it? Google how to
Yeah, yeah,
DIY
yeah.
exorcism.
DIY exorcisms,
Check
yes.
on the DIY channel.
He did just say that with a true exorcism where somebody is truly possessed, there needs to be more than one person performing whatever's going on. He says
Really?
it works better if more than one person is involved.
Why is that? Because energy flow from like
Yeah.
a negative positive pole kind of
Hmm.
thing, or anode
Yeah, and just
stuff?
pulling in more energy. It's like the group, when you get a group together,
Oh
they're
yeah.
more, the
Oh yeah, sure.
it's like that. So he said that's always the better way to do it. And again, he does say that this really is a true possession is very rare.
Yeah. Is
Um,
it the chant you need to say? Okay, so you clear all the energy with all these herbs and all that stuff. Then what do you do?
well, while all this was going on, you'd be praying with whatever it is that your group of people would want to do, and calling the light or God or whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Um, intention. It would be
Oh
about
yeah.
intention.
Yeah, intention's important. All
Yes.
right. Okay. Was this Annalise really given a choice by Mother Mary to be freed from demons or die while being possessed for the sins of humanity?
She was given a choice. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, she was given a choice.
Oh, gosh. All right. Can animal spirits possess a human body?
Um,
Bella can put this
what
anytime.
he just said is that that would be more of an attach. They would attach to
Oh,
you, not really possess, but attach to you.
that is definitely different.
Yes.
And they would always be I'm sure,
Yeah,
benevolent
that's
reason. It's never,
yes.
animals don't
Yes.
have, yeah, okay. There are no
No,
evil
no.
animals, right?
No,
Animal
not when
spirits.
right, right, not when the animals even here, animals, even when they act aggressively, it's not because they're evil.
Yeah, well, except chimpanzees, they kill for fun. So I don't know.
Yes, yes, but for the most part,
For the
animals,
most
you
part,
know,
I think they're the
yes, it's
only, I think, might be wrong, that they're the only animal beside human beings who do
kill for sport.
kill for sport.
I believe dolphins kill for sport too.
Oh, and I love dolphins. That's
Yeah,
not good. Of course, they do
yeah,
gang rape, so that's not
yes,
good.
they do. Yes, they
Yeah,
do.
they're little
Uh,
horny little beasts. Anyway, but
yes,
I still love them. Okay, I can't help myself.
yes, it is okay. It's okay. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, animals do not in the spirit world do not have evil intentions.
Okay, good. Now, is it true that only archangels, Jesus, Mother Mary, and God Himself are able to cast out demons from a human? No, we just
No.
talked about we can
Yeah.
exercise them ourselves. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now see, he said that's kind of a trick question because the humans would be kind of orchestrating it, but they would get help from the angels and God and stuff on the other side. So
Oh, yeah. So I see.
he
So,
says, like Eric says, you can't just, leave it be and hope God will take care of it.
yeah.
You have to be actively involved in the human form, but yes, they would be involved.
Yeah, of
Um,
course. Good. All right. So, why do you have to do exorcisms? Why can't you say, get the hell out of my body or that person's body? Don't
well,
they respond to that? I
well,
guess.
sometimes their will is just stronger than that. So
Oh, yeah.
with intention about stuff, you have to really, really be serious.
Yeah.
And what Eric is making me feel is that the person who may be possessed, their will is very weak at that moment.
Yes.
So they need the strength of others. Now, if they could maybe summon up the strength themselves to truly, but he says at that point they're so confused and
Yeah.
they're so weak that they need the help of others to
Oh,
kind of
sure.
boost their strength. He says like this type of thing, the exorcism boosts the person's strength who is feeling the possession, and it like they need a longer amount of time than just get out of here to boost their
Okay.
strength back up to, I guess, kind of fight it
Okay.
themselves.
Uh, does one have to be vulnerable for these demons to come in and possess them? Seems like you would have to be.
Yeah, he was saying, yeah, they would not go to somebody who's not feeling vulnerable.
Okay, good. Uh, where can you look to for help if you think you're possessed and the Catholic Church refuses to perform an exorcism? Well, I guess you do it yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, with other
you
people.
yes, or yeah. I mean, I guess you could find other, spiritual people or religious people who might have some insight into this. Um, and he says, because if it works, it works. Who cares where? Who cares kind
Yeah,
of who helped you get rid of the possession? If it works, it
exactly.
works. You just need
Exactly.
to get rid of it.
Okay. Now, why do demons not like holy water? Or if you go like this, you know, what's the deal about holy water? This is water.
It's
Well, it has an intent
that's exactly what
into
it
it.
is.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. No, he said it's the intention into the holy water. The intention in it is what does that. Um,
Like when I use the Eric board, the E board, uh, you have this prayer of intent. I just found myself by a golden bubble of protection and blah 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 blah. But I substitute that with the word apple, so I don't have to say that whole thing. I'm that
right.
lazy. I'm that
Yes.
lazy. And so that's like holy water is a substitute for that long intent and prayer, I guess.
Yes. And he said, no, she's not lazy. She's efficient.
There we go. Efficient. I like that. I like it.
Yes.
Um, can one become possessed by using a Ouija board?
So yes. he said that does open up a vulnerability. And that's how he keeps putting it, is it opens up a vulnerability
If
for
you play
them.
around with the dark forces.
Yes,
If you don't say, all right, only
yes,
Eric and my spirit guides or whatever can come. Everybody
correct.
not welcome here.
Yes.
All that kind of, okay,
Yes,
go
and
ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
well, what he's saying is like, yeah, if your intention when you play with a Ouija board is to connect to whoever wants to come through, then you open yourself up for vulnerability. But if you're doing like what you say is only, beings from the light, or only, beings that have good intentions, all others know, that then it's, it would be okay. But yes,
Yeah.
playing with a Ouija board, if you do not know what you're doing, he said that's definitely a way to kind of, and he said really, that is like, would be, not that you can't get a possession that way, but more of the ones that like would attach.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Oh, I see.
He's saying that is more likely to be what happens, is you get one that comes through that attaches to you.
Oh, can you be
Um,
attached to or possessed by alien entities?
you know what um Well, he is just actually making me feel like they don't need to do that.
Why, Eric?
Um, well, because of their technology and their knowledge. Not that we
Okay.
can't connect to them, because there are some of us who can, but they don't need to kind of possess us,
Okay.
to get whatever information a being that
Or
would possess us.
feeling, tangible
Yes.
feeling, all that. Okay, cool. What can we do to protect ourselves from demons or demonic possession or attachment?
Okay, well, the big thing is don't open yourself up to that. Don't toy with the darker energies, and don't, dabble in the darker side of things. And he said also, surround yourself with the bright light, and only allow, positive energies to be able to connect to you. Those are the type of things that keep you protected from that,
Okay.
um, and give you the strength. But it, it really is about not messing in those
Yeah.
areas. Um,
Otherwise, is there anything you can do, like, um, well, I guess clear the energy of your space with sage,
Palo Santo.
Santo,
Yes.
smudging, and Tibetan bells, and
Yeah.
burning
What
salt, and
crystals? Yeah. This.
crystals. What
Yeah. This.
crystal works the best for
So
warding
okay.
off demons?
So the darker crystals, the black stones, tend
Oh,
to be protective. So like
oh,
black tourmaline, black jade, um, the onyxes, those tend to be good about protecting you against negativity. Hematite is a really good one.
ah,
Clear quartz is an amplifier, so you can always add clear quartz to any of your stuff.
with the black.
Yes, it'll
Oh,
amplify the energy. And copper is also an amplifier. So if you're somebody who feels like negative energies are with you, you might want to more wear something like that. Wear something with black tourmaline, maybe wrapped in copper, with some clear quartz, and actually carry the
yeah.
stones on you. Um, if you feel like it's where you live or where you work or something, put
Yeah, what
them
if you
in that
move into a
space.
haunted house? What can you do there?
Well, see, if it's a haunting where
Yeah.
you truly have an earthbound spirit,
Oh, is that what that is? Yeah.
that, yeah,
Okay.
that it's different, because there can be residual energy where you're
Mm,
where you're still feeling the negativity
yes.
or whatever
But
that happened there, but there's not necessarily an
an
earthbound
entity.
spirit.
It's not an entity. Oh, got
Yes,
it.
but if you truly have an earthbound spirit, um, that's something that he said you need to, um, try to talk them into going into the light. He said, but they're so stubborn because they don't always believe that they're dead.
I know.
He said that's really, really hard, and that would,
Hey, Mr. Thing, you dead. Go.
yeah,
Go to the light. Okay.
yes,
There's no hell. Come on, go.
yes.
Why do demons have such power to cause harm to humans through
Well,
possession?
because humans are vulnerable. We are vulnerable in these bodies.
Snowflakes.
Yes, we're just vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that's why we, we have bad days and we do destructive things to ourselves, and then we, spiral down. So we're just vulnerable in this form. Our soul is vulnerable in the human body.
Well, what do they get out of harming us, though?
Well, he said they're kicks and they're jollies is how he just kind of put it. It's fun. It's
Oh,
fun for them.
woohoo!
Um, yes.
Okay. How is it possible, or is it possible that more than one demon can possess a human body?
Yes. He just said yes.
Okay. How many demons are there?
Oh, he, a lot. He's
Like
just all of a sudden I'm just
millions?
no, it doesn't feel like millions, but it feels like quite a bit. Quite a
Like
bit.
what? How many I mean, how many figures?
Um
Four figures, five
no
figures, six figures?
no. I feel like I have hundreds.
Oh, okay.
I feel like like I
Oh,
have
that's not so
hundreds.
bad. Okay, good.
Um
Is there such thing as the Antichrist? And if so, what is it? And is it on Earth now?
oh, okay, this is interesting. It's the the Antichrist, how Eric is making me feel about that is it's not a physical thing. It's not like
Oh,
and it's not like a being like God or the angels or a spirit. It's more of a way of thinking, he said.
oh.
It's the Antichrist is more of a way of thinking.
And what is that way of thinking, Eric?
Um, well, it would be like thinking that, against, but it's not even just against God. It's like the more negative, the more, okay, he keeps saying like what we would consider like devil worshiping.
Oh, okay.
Like that sort of a mentality is the Antichrist, but it's not like a specific thing.
Okay.
It's like a thought.
All right. So it's not a specific evil spirit, for example.
No, that's not how he's making me feel at all. It's like you know, thoughts are powerful things.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how it feels to me.
Okay. Was Lucifer really an angel cast out of heaven?
Yes.
Okay. Why was he cast out?
Okay. Again, he's making me feel like back to the good and evil. We need both. We
Okay.
need good and evil.
Okay.
It's why we come here. He said it's why we come here to Earth, because that is where good and evil happens there.
Okay.
On the other side, good and evil doesn't happen on the other side. Good and evil happens here.
Okay.
And if there were no beings to create evil, then there would be no contrast.
Yeah, that's true. Why do some demons attach to some houses and not others?
Okay, that's
That sounds like the earthbound spirits to me.
yeah, that's it's a more earthbound, and it is not about the house specifically, it's about the land. So if you have a haunted house and you tear the house down and build another house, a brand new house, you're still going to have a haunted house.
Oh, ooh. Because
Okay,
they
because
maybe lived there
it
before.
yes, it attaches to the land.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just
Indian burial grounds. Ooh.
yeah, yes, and he said it really is just it's about the land. So if you could live right next door to a haunted house and you don't have any issues at your house because the ghost stays there, so to speak.
Okay, well, what can you do to the land to make sure that it's
Yeah,
cleansed?
you would need somebody professional who knows how to get them to cross over,
Okay.
and it's interesting because that is also he says there are some earthbound spirits who are earthbound because it is part of their plan.
Oh, their
So
contract. Okay.
yes, but he is okay. So he is making me feel like if God said that all the earthbound spirits would come back, they could. He could do that. He could take
Oh,
them
okay.
all back
Yeah.
in. So it's kind of like we're just experiencing, and he said it's not all bad because when people see a ghost, it does open their mind to the fact that there is
True.
something beyond here. So
Yeah.
it is kind of helpful to have some.
Yeah. Of course, they had to like invest in lifetime supply of Depends because they're just
Yes.
going to wet themselves all the time. But
Yes.
so you know how some people with schizophrenia, one of the things is auditory hallucinations. I'm just
Yes.
wondering how many people are diagnosed with schizophrenia who are really just channeling.
Yeah, and so he is saying that that does happen. Um,
I mean,
that
some
that
are
does.
in mental institutions. I just
Yes.
talked to Grandma Moses, and oh God, put her in the funny farm. You know that sort of
Yeah. Well, and what he's saying is that the people who that happens to, it's because also they don't understand what's happening and they think they're crazy.
thing. Yeah,
They think they're crazy, and he is saying like with schizophrenia,
yeah,
in particular, that people who truly are schizophrenic, he said still some of what they get is actually coming from the other side.
yeah,
Not all of it. Some of it is hallucinations and this kind of stuff,
yeah.
but he said some of it is like it's like a bit of both.
Yeah, because they're straddling both
Yes.
sides from what
Yes.
Eric told me in the past. What about multiple personality disorder?
Okay. That well, he said that's a real thing. That is a real thing that can be, a mental illness. Um, and he said that is usually, oh, that's interesting. Uh, okay. Oftentimes that is like from trauma, where there's like a psychotic break. But he said sometimes people have that, and it's past lives of theirs
Oh,
that
that
are
bleed
popping in.
through. Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yes.
Can it be other souls? Like somebody told me that, well, Eric told me that Lucas is part Lucas, but he also has a little bit of the baby that I lost, Seth, in him, that he occupies
Space
Lucas's
in
body
there.
too, a little bit, because he
Yeah.
wants to observe what Lucas, basically his life.
Yeah, so it can be, other souls, but he is making me feel like more often it's either an illness or
Okay,
past lives bleeding through. Like that's like
interesting.
kind of more common what happens.
So you think past life regression would help cure some cases of
Yeah,
multiple
he said
personalities?
it could be very helpful for some of them, but then he is also making me feel like once that happens, whichever way, whether it's trauma or past lives, he says kind of like once it starts happening, it's hard to stop it. It is
Yeah.
how he's putting it because it like opens up that path.
Oh, I see. What about bipolar disease?
Uh, he said mental illness,
It's pretty much mental illness.
mental
Okay.
illness.
How can you tell the difference between, say, schizophrenia and spirit possession, whether negative or positive?
It's just like it's very difficult. He said it's very difficult, and the best thing to do would be to try all kinds of options,
Oh,
to help to see what helps and what works and what doesn't. But he said, so few people here think to look outside of what they're trying. So if you're going to the doctors and getting your medication, you tend to stick with that. Or do you know what he's saying, like, you do this, and if this doesn't work, you try a different medicine, but you don't necessarily think, oh, maybe I should see about an exorcism, or
oh, yeah, right,
you
right,
know
right.
it's
Yeah,
like you
really.
don't go for, he's like they're kind of at different ends, and most people don't think about the whole spectrum of what you
I
could do.
know. I know. That's true.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a show that I've heard of too, The Dead Files. And this person wants to know, Eric, this is from other blog members, Eric's take on that show. Amy Allen is always seeing really weird things, claiming the entities can kill or make sick the people living in the home. She always has some unique clearing remedies that are tailored to the situation. Is it really that complicated?
No, he said they can't kill you. They
Oh, demons
can't kill
cannot kill you, but they can
they
make you
can't
sick, probably, right?
Yeah, he said they can't kill you, and it's like I what she's doing is like he said it's more about earthbound spirits.
Okay.
It's more about earthbound spirits, and he says they can't kill you. Earthbound
Oh,
spirits can't
good.
kill you.
But demons can't kill you either?
Um, he said he said they can drive you mad.
So they can probably drive you to kill yourself.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do and or can demons take possession of small children? If so, how can we tell? And sometimes I've thought my kids were possessed by demons. But anyway,
Yeah.
and if so, how can we tell? And once confirmed, how can they be removed?
Okay, so truly how Eric's making me feel here is that children are protected.
Oh,
The
good.
children are protected because they already come in with so much vulnerability that he says they're protected, and he is showing me small children.
Yeah,
So maybe not so much with teenagers, but
yeah,
small children, he said they're protected because they come in with too much vulnerability that
yeah.
they need to be protected in
Right.
this way. Um, I don't necessarily feel as though he's applying that to teenagers, but younger children, there's just too much protection around them for this to happen.
Okay. So, teenagers, I mean, how can you tell if it's a demon
He's
possessing?
he's yeah, he's like, you can't, because teenagers are, such shitheads anyways. He just said.
Oh, oh,
Uh,
some
he
of
said
them
it's
are. Let's be
he's like he's just being funny. But no, what he's saying is that like teenagers have their their issues anyways, and he says, if your teenagers just doing normal teenage stuff, even if it's partying and talking back and running off and stuff, that does not mean that they're possessed. And he's okay, so he's saying one of the ways that you would know is a drastic change
ah,
in their personality. And also, he is making me feel like there would be a physical
oh,
look, like they would look very, very tired. Um, he said that's harder to tell with adults because adults always look tired. He said.
I know it's true because I am
And like he's also making me feel like there would be physical sickness,
tired.
physical
Okay.
physical sickness.
Oh,
And again, he does want to reiterate this: true possessions are very
rare. Good. Thank
rare.
God. Can dark energies be summoned
Oh
on the
yes.
human? Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Bye. How do demons pick their victims, other than the fact that they're vulnerable, depressed, or alcoholics, or heroin addicts, or
That's how they do it. He
that's pretty
just
much it, huh?
Yeah, he just sort of showed me them kind of wandering around till they're drawn to somebody, basically.
Okay. Are there do different types of demons have different passions?
Yes.
Okay, like for example.
Certain ones would be drawn to people who are alcoholics, um, and maybe because they liked to drink or they like the the
Oh,
the drugs or something. So yes, they would be
ah.
drawn to certain types
Or
of
they like
people.
the high from heroin.
Yep.
What do they get out of?
Gambling.
What do they
Yeah.
get out of people who are depressed?
Um, the high of causing misery. He just said that they
Oh,
like to cause the misery.
oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. What is the greatest damage a demon can do? Of course, they can't kill you. Uh, can they get you to? They can get you to kill yourself,
Yeah,
but can they get you
madness.
to kill somebody else?
Um, yeah,
Wow.
he said yes.
And they can get you to become
No,
ill, obviously.
okay. So he did say yes, but he said, like they would. Okay, so what Eric is saying is that they would choose somebody who would not be opposed to that, anyways.
Oh,
Like they wouldn't just choose somebody who would never do this. They would choose somebody that, if put in the
has
right circumstance.
propensity.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
That makes
Hmm.
sense. Now, you said that possession sometimes is part of a pre-birth plan. What is a lesson that comes from something like that?
Okay, so it's almost more like it's to show others that it's possible, to teach the people around
Oh,
that
yeah.
it can happen. But he said it could also be for the person to find their strength to fight this.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and that kind of thing. But he said, just like we need to see the good and the light of the other side. He's like, there we also
Like the
need to see.
contrast. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to, in order to appreciate the good even more,
Yes.
you
Yes.
have to know the negative.
Right.
Uh, can you name a few famous people who have been possessed, which has caused them to commit crimes against their free will?
I am not getting anything
You probably
immediately.
don't want them. I mean, some serial killers, maybe?
Oh, yes, actually that's so funny because I was seeing like the Son of Sam earlier.
Oh, okay.
When we were talking about the murdering, he kept showing me the Son of Sam.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I, yeah, so yes, serial killers. He said not all of them,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, the Son of Sam. Um,
Pops
yes,
in your, yeah, okay.
yes.
Curious about shadow people. I've seen them quite often after using tarot and Ouija boards as a kid. Are they evil? We talked about that.
Yeah, I don't. What I feel this person is asking about shadow people. No, it's not. It's guides, or you've opened
Yeah.
that third eye up to the other side. That's not necessarily evil or bad.
Okay.
Scary, yes.
Yeah. Kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Can a person be a demon disguised as a human?
Okay. So, all right. How Eric is putting this is like yes, but not for an entire life. Like angels can pop in and take on a human form for a short period of time.
Okay.
But an angel does not come into a life like we do from birth all the way through. But an angel can pop in and take human form for a brief amount of time, and a demon
Wow.
can as well. Um,
Interesting. How brief are
but
we
just
talking
for
about?
I really, it feels very quick. I don't even feel like I have a whole day here. I feel like
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, so like when he's showing me like when there's an accident scene and there's like that person who was on the scene and then they just disappear,
Oh,
um
yeah.
like that type of a thing
Cool.
is how
Yeah.
angels can pop in. And he said demons can do the same thing. And I have to be honest with you, he is making me feel um like angels and demons, they're not the same, but they do feel similar, the type of.
Similar, the opposite sides of the same coin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can
Yes.
see that. I can totally see that. Uh, okay, this person says they experience sleep paralysis, and she or he is wondering if demons were involved in any way.
Okay. So what that is, there's a couple of different things that can be. Uh, it's especially when you can't breathe, when you're having the
Mm,
paralysis with the breathing,
mm,
that is an energy that's like on you. Not necessarily a demon, but more of a negative energy that's attached to you.
okay.
But for whatever reason, Eric is making me feel very clearly like that would be involved with the breathing, feeling very strained too. But he said sometimes people will have the sleep paralysis where they don't have the breathing problem and they can see and they can hear, but they just can't move or speak.
Right.
He's saying what that is when your soul has kind of astral traveled
Uh huh.
and you've woken up as your soul and your body are reconnecting, and it's not like the transition isn't fully done.
Oh yeah, I know
Um,
that. That is so true. All right. Can demons present as our deceased loved ones?
no, no, no. He's saying that does not happen because the deceased loved ones sort of have more strength
Mm,
than to. I don't. I it's That's very interesting. So no, he said you would not mistake a demon or a negative entity for a deceased loved one, because when the deceased loved ones come, you just know it's them, and it doesn't usually feel scary unless you see them. He said unless you see them, he said in human form you guys get so scared when you see something.
I know.
But when you feel the energy around you, just in the physical, not necessarily the visual, he said you'll always know that it's your loved ones and not something evil and to be afraid of. But he said you can mistake your loved one that you're seeing as something evil because it just scares you guys.
Oh yeah.
Which he actually kind of is laughing at. He thinks it's kind of
It
funny.
is kind of funny from
Yes.
his perspective. Well,
Yeah.
can can demons impersonate somebody that a medium is channeling? For example, have there ever been demons, Eric, that have said, "Hey, I'm Eric Medhus," and been channeled by a medium?
Okay, so he's saying for him in particular, no.
Okay.
That has not happened. But what he is saying is that, like, if a medium doesn't, like, for me in particular, and I'm talking as Jennifer,
Right.
I have always just put a protection up. I do not let negative in. I just don't. So I know
Yeah.
everything that comes to me. Um, and for the Catholics out there, this would be considered discernment of spirit.
Yes.
I can just tell the difference, and I do
Yeah.
not allow negative in. However, if you have a medium who does not do that, because there are mediums that will let whatever come in, yes, then negative energies and entities and stuff can be channeled.
And they could probably, say,
Mis-
"Hey, I'm Archangel Michael," and things like that,
yes,
right?
and give misinformation, and
Mm.
if the medium doesn't know what they're dealing with, then yes, they could be being fed misinformation.
All right, that is awesome. I don't have any more questions. Eric, thank you so much. I love you. Jennifer, we got some cool stuff coming up. First of all, people can connect with you at psychicmediumjenniferdoran.com, and I'll put that here. And tell us about the Channeling Eric event that's coming up in October.
Yes, so it's a 3-day event in October. It'll be Jamin Olivencia and myself hosting. It should be a really good time. It'll be, let's see, Friday night, all day Saturday, and then a little bit of a wrap up on Sunday. Do you know the dates? I didn't get the new dates.
Um, I know the Sunday the 21st is the last day.
Okay,
So
so
I guess 19th through the 21st, because we
yes.
were going to have it in August, but it's too hot here in Houston.
Yeah, yeah. I
It's
know
just
some
too
the
much.
tickets are already selling, so there is
But there's
you
only
know,
limited space because it's
yeah,
in my
limited
house. It's
space.
in Eric's home, a place, his where
Yeah,
he grew up. So it's a very
yeah.
special thing. And the last time we had this, people thought it was just so life changing. So register as soon as you can, because again, we can't have everybody come to my
Right.
house. So,
Yeah.
all
Yep.
right. Anything else you want to share, Jennifer?
Just thank you. And Eric says he loves you. And he said, he said he'll he'll see you outside. And he's talking about the closet. Um, like being in the closet. I don't know what, not in like a
A
homosexual
gay
being
one,
gay
right,
way.
right, right, right.
That like I actually feel as though you're going to
Okay.
see him in the closet.
Ooh,
That's so
that'd be
funny.
cool.
Yes.
Got any messages for your little bro, Lucas?
Uh, yeah, he said you got this. Take a deep breath and just keep going. Just
All
keep
right.
plugging away.
Oh, I know exactly what that is. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you, Jennifer.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.